Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight we're going to be talking about fragrances that transport you to another place. Unless, of course, you're already living in the place that the fragrance is referencing, in which case you won't be transported anywhere by that particular fragrance. However, you should be transported by other fragrances that I mentioned tonight. So the last fragrance is in honor of the place I lived most recently before New York. And that place was Utah. I think I might have mentioned this once or twice. So I have a fragrance from my collection that is reminiscent of fragrances I enjoyed when I was up in the higher elevations in the Rockies. See if you can guess what it is. I'll save that one for last, so stick around. Let's jump right in. The first fragrance I'm going to talk about this evening is Mumbai Noise by Byredo. This is a 50 ml eau de parfum. It goes for about $125. I think you can find it. It's a 2021 release, and the fragrances Divana, coffee. It's got tonka bean, oud, sandalwood, and labdanum. It's a very unusual fragrance. I've heard a lot of people reference cannabis in this, and I can see how they get that, but it's really not jumping out at me. Like I've smelled fragrances that are a lot more cannabis forward than this. There's a beautiful green. I think it's more of the Divana in there than a cannabis. I'm not a cannabis connoisseur, but I have smelled it, and this just, yeah, maybe, but it's not. I don't care to smell like cannabis, and this is perfectly wonderful, right? I have a bottle and I enjoy wearing it. So this makes me think of Mumbai, right, in India. Pretty colors, urban rush. You get, that kind of feel meets the warmth of the geography. Crowded chaos, a little bit overwhelming and sticky, except everybody smells amazing. And they're all on their way to work first thing in the morning, right? That's the vision I have in my head. Mumbai Noise by Byredo. If you haven't tried it, you probably should. There it is. Beautiful stuff. Moving on, we've got, Sweden by Swedoft. So I've talked about this house recently. I mentioned Rasputin, and these are the only two I have from Swedoft, but I really, really love several other fragrances, and I have them on my wish list. So this fragrance is a spicy oriental. It was released in 2022. It goes for about $240. It's got saffron, geranium, cardamom, lemon, wood, caramel, vetiver, patchouli, raspberry, musk, labdanum, and benzoin. I get a little animalic in there, just a little bit. So obviously this is supposed to transport you to Sweden, and I get it, except I get a lot more than the, beautiful Swedish landscape that this is supposed to call to mind. I think in the opening it's a soapy gourmand. That gourmand is really forward. I think it's caramel that's in here. The cardamom is there too. The cardamom gets much stronger as it dries down. And I think that kind of exotic feel to the spice, it makes me think a little bit of a cumin, maybe, or an animalic. It's just a hint of it under that cardamom. So if you don't like animalics, if you're really sensitive to it, you might get a hint of that in here. I think it's stunning. So it's a soapy gourmand that I get in the opening, but in the most beautiful possible way. There's something very natural about it, very human. Um, so you imagine a person in like a fisherman's sweater, maybe a man. I think this might lean a little masculine, although it is truly unisex. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who's eating maybe some kind of pastry, but this guy's been out in the elements all day, just kind of, working on the boat in his fisherman sweater. And then he stops and he eats some kind of, I don't know, berry pastry, some kind of, spicy berry pastry, something like that. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And a fragrance house. I'm surprised we don't hear more about Swedoft's Sweden. All right, moving on. We've got, oh, yes, one of my all-time favorites, Musc Māori by Pierre, Guillaume, number 4. So this fragrance is a tropical musk. It's a 50 ml, $125 approximately. It's a 2005 release rather, and an EDP. So it's got cocoa, vanilla, tonka bean, musk, amber. I get yellow florals in here, and coffee. The coffee settles way down as the fragrance dries. This is a really exquisite experience. If you haven't tried Musc Māori, you're doing yourself a giant disservice, and you should really get a hold of a sample. This is one of the few really, I think, universally likable fragrances out there that isn't really mainstream. And of course, this is supposed to transport you to New Zealand, right? The feeling I get from this is, or the thoughts that it evokes for me, is all the non-cliche notes of a South Pacific setting. Coconut, but young. Cocoa, but not sweet. Musk, but not animalic. This is universally lovable. I wear this and I hear about it. I also overspray it because it's just so it's like a yummy musk, right? Is that possible? I guess so, because here it is. Check it out if you get a chance. This is so delectable. It's one of those few fragrances that I just want it all the time. There is never a bad time for Musc Māori by Pierre Guillaume. Next, we've got, oh yes, love, love, love this one. It is Penhaligon's Babylon. I don't know if this has been discontinued, but I do know it's not supposed to be all that easy to find anymore. This is a 2019 release. It's a 100 ml EDP, and it goes for about $310 if you can get it. I got this, and I really haven't heard much about it. It is a stunner. Oh gosh, it's a spicy, vanillic, oriental, absolutely amazing. This turned me on to Penhaligons. I smelled this and I had to have it right away. This was one of the few that was like a love at first sniff. And then I went knee deep into samples from Penhaligons, and I just fell in love with the brand, with the house, I should say. So it's got nutmeg, cypriol, saffron, coriander, vanilla, cedar, and sandalwood. Yes to the nutmeg. Yes to the vanilla. Yes to the cypriol, cedar, sandalwood. It's just, this is more spicy than it leads in the notes. I get some cinnamon in here, but not a desserty cinnamon. This is a very dry fragrance. And it's just decadent. This is the ancient world just as you should think of it, right? All the amazing things about the ancient Mesopotamian cultures where Babylon was positioned. Perfect contributions to humanity, Hammurabi's code and amazing architecture. None of the bad, all of the good. Nothing but just, the ancient world through rose-colored glasses, except there's no rose in here. Let me just get that straight. Babylon by Penhaligons. I love the sticker on here too. It's beautiful. There we go. Gorgeous stuff. All right, moving on. We've got, not to be outdone, Cairo by Penhaligons, of course, taking you to Cairo, Egypt. This is an Oriental. It's 100 mil. It goes for about $330. It's an EDP and also a 2019 release. This one does have rose in it, damask rose. And I am learning to distinguish among the roses, and I'm not there yet, so I won't get into the specifics about damask rose, but this is a beautiful floral oriental or oriental floral. It's got rose, saffron, vanilla, cypriol, labdanum, sandalwood, patchouli, and cedar. And to me, this fragrance really, the spicy rose, the way the rose acts, I think is very unique. It's offset by a rich vanilla kind of underpinning it so that it's not too much rose. I'm not a huge fan of florals as a rule, and this is not too much for me. This is delightful. And it wears delightfully on me, right? I don't mind florals. They just don't smell good on me, and therefore I don't love them, but this one smells great. It's deep. It's got a resinous, kind of dry, woody feel to it. So imagine the warm desert wind, kind of surrounding you, haunting sand just beyond the rushing urban sprawl that you're a part of. Urban life meets the history of beautiful Egypt, Cairo by Penhaligons. Moving on, we have Oud Palao by Diptyque. As always, Diptyque has lovely, lovely artwork. You can see through the back of the bottle and the front. Gorgeous stuff. This is an EDP. It's 75 mil. It goes for about $255, and it is a 2015 release. This is oud, rose, tobacco, labdanum, sandalwood, rum, camphor, patchouli, and vanilla. I don't get the camphor. Thank goodness. I'm not a huge fan. Folks, if you are a Gen Xer like I am, you might remember from the late 80s Fendi. It was all the rage when I was in high school, and it was a very dark, rich, kind of oudy amber fragrance. Amazing stuff. And I think you can find a vintage bottle out there, for like $1,000. And I'd be afraid to spend that kind of money on, I'm not a vintage fragrance shopper, so I wouldn't know what I was doing. However, this scratches the itch. How about that? It's definitely not the same, but there's something in there that unmistakably points you in that direction. And like I said, it covers the fix I need, because I have coveted that fragrance ever since I stopped wearing it when I was a kid. And this is an incredible find, and still all its own. This reminds me of that Fendi fragrance from the 80s, except it's a little more raw, earthy, and a hint animalic, lusty, warm, dangerous, like trench diving, like sea snakes, all of which you could find around the island of Palau. Oud Palao by Diptyque. All right. We are almost at the end of our journey. Have you decided what the fragrance is that reminds me of Salt Lake City, where we lived most recently? Here we go. Ready or not. It is Silver Mountain Water by Creed. Now, this is supposed to remind you of the Swiss Alps. However, everything's relative, right? Alpine smells, experiences. That's what I get from this. And this is definitely, a lovely aquatic aromatic. It's 50 ml. It goes for about $200. It was a 1995 release, and it is an EDP. This is bergamot, orange, green tea, black currant, musk, petitgrain, sandalwood, galbanum. And again, this is supposed to take you to the Swiss Alps specifically, but for me, and I have been to the Swiss Alps, I don't know, I get more of Salt Lake City in this. What do you think if you've been to both or either? What are your thoughts? So this is like a cold mountain river to me, herbal spring fragrances, new leaves, green pine cones, cool breeze, bright sun, just the absolute perfection of an alpine landscape. And that landscape can be here in the US or definitely in Europe, but I think potentially anywhere that they have gorgeous mountains. Oh, this is beautiful. A very easy reach, unisex, bright, positive, um, universally likable. I mean, if I were to shop for a fragrance for someone and I had absolutely no idea what to get, I would consider this one. It's just fantastic. Silver Mountain Water by Creed. And you can't really see because the bottle is a beautiful glass, but it's got to be at least half empty. So I absolutely love this stuff. So what did you think of the lineup? Do you think these fragrances transport you somewhere else? I definitely enjoy wearing them for different occasions and different times of the year. Some of the spicier orientals I really enjoy in the cooler months, and like a Silver Mountain Water would be any time of the year. Of course, Mumbai Noise and Musc Māori are probably for the warmer months. Sweden also any time of year. Oud Palao, that's a complex one. What do you think? Maybe, yeah, probably the cooler months for that one. But everything is relative. You do you, wear what you want, when you want, how you want. If you are not yet a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing, especially if you enjoy videos about niche fragrances and indie houses. If you enjoyed the content, please give me a like and leave me a comment. I absolutely adore reading them. I respond to every single one. For those of you who have subscribed and commented, thank you so much. I love interacting with you. It's just a pleasure. All right, so I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.